And the mistake that people do is they want to do a million other things. But what you really should do is just focus on the one that's working and really, really explore that thing, with all of your resources and time and attention.
Hey everyone, we have Larry Kim here with us, and I'm a big fan of Larry's work. As of last year, I saw a presentation that Larry did on unicorn marketing, and it really impacted my life. It has impacted the way I do marketing, and I especially love Larry's unicorn hacks. So just a background of Larry is currently the CEO of Mobile Monkey, the world's best Facebook Messenger marketing platform, and previously he was also the founder of WordStream, the leading provider of Adwords, Facebook, and keyword tools used by millions of marketers worldwide. So Larry has a lot of hacks, and all the things that he has achieved he's also the number 8 most popular author on Medium. So Larry, pleasure speaking to you.
Oh, well, thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a big fan of your work, especially unicorn marketing. So just to give context to the people here in Asia, because they're not too familiar with what's going on in America, can you briefly explain what's unicorn marketing?
Sure. Unicorn marketing just is based on my experience of over 15 years of marketing, of growth marketing, just realizing that, all of the gains that you make in marketing and in sales are related to just a very, very small few percentages of the effort that you do. Usually it's like, if you think about how did eBay get to be such a big company, back in the day, it was just because they created a lot of content that ranked well on Google. So all that other marketing they did was pretty useless, and it was just like one little thing that they spent a little bit of time on, generated all that value to be able to rank on so many different keywords. You see what I'm saying? It's typically the case that these one or two small things generates so much of the value. And so the whole idea of unicorn marketing is just the amazing ideas that really truly grow and transform your business. I call those the unicorns, and everything else that kind of doesn't really do anything, those are the donkeys. And so we really need to be good at understanding what's a unicorn and what's a donkey. Unicorns are really valuable, and they will help you a great deal. But donkeys are useless, and you should cut your losses and stop working on those projects. The problem with marketers is that they all suffer from donkey delusional syndrome, which means that they think that everything that they work on is a unicorn. Oh, I spent so much time and effort on this thing. It's a unicorn. No. I spent a lot of time blogging, but only one of my blog posts out of every 100 it actually really works. You know what I mean? So we just got to get better at identifying kind of the things that work and kind of have a lot of different strategies and tactics on how to identify them and how to get more leverage out of those activities.
Right. Yeah. Since I've listened to you on unicorn marketing, I practically went back and looked at the blog posts or the content that got the most clicks or engagements or the most visitors organically, and just spent more money using paid advertising to get them out, and also spending more time to create topics that are around the unicorn. Right?
Those are called unicorn babies. Yeah. So if you have a winning idea, those are so rare, okay, and so powerful that what you need to do is, marketers, they're silly. What they do is when they have a very successful campaign, they look at a marketing calendar and they say okay, what should we do next month? And they come up with a different idea. No. You should not. You should not come up with a different idea. You should just repeat the successful idea over and over and over. Because you found something remarkable that is valuable and is very rare. So spending more money to promote a very successful post is absolutely the right thing to do, because you're getting more leverage and more value from the content that's already proven itself to be very interesting, and what marketers do, they're very silly. Rather than just putting a little few dollars to get more value out of their winning content, for example, they would rather spend more money on producing new unproven content, which is most likely to not going to work. So I think that's kind of, I think you've nailed it. Like, that's the main point there.
Yeah, for me, I looked for the content with the most engagement, but for yourself, how do you spot a unicorn? It's different for everyone.
So if you're producing, so this is true for all marketing channels. Okay, so it's not just blog content. It's like, if you do social media marketing, most of the posts will go nowhere, but once in a while you get like a post that has like 100 comments, or you know what I mean? Like, it's not a little bit better. It's like, it's a lot better, right? Where it's like, usually, if you tweet something and you get 1 or 2 retweets, and then one day you tweet something and it gets 100 retweets, like, that's the unicorn, right? So you found something interesting. So what you're looking for is not, you're looking for any campaign. So whether it's social media marketing, online advertising, content marketing, like email marketing, like whatever channel you're doing marketing in, you got to look at the history of performance. So like, just say email marketing. Okay, so one of the key metrics in email marketing is the open rate and the click rate for email marketing, right? Like, you want people to open the email and you want people to click on the links in the email, right? So typically, if you look at your email statistics, you'll see like the average open rate might be like 10 or 15%, but if you happen to do one that got 40 or 50% open rates, well, then that's the unicorn. Why? It's not just a little bit different. It's not like 17% or 20%. Like, that's only a small difference from the average of 15%. You see what I'm saying? What we're looking for is outliers that are between 2, 3, or 4 or 5 times above average. Because if something does 2 to 5 times better than average, then that wasn't a fluke. That is like, there's something very special about that campaign that is really resonating with people. So like, you said with social media, you were looking at like what campaigns have the highest engagement. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it. Another thing you can do is you can look at competitor campaigns. So using tools like BuzzSumo, you can see which of their content got the most shares. Okay, so that'll tell you that, okay, well, we should copy these ideas because they're very exciting ideas. You know what I mean? Or you could use tools like SEMrush to figure out like what keywords are driving the most traffic to their site, because like, you know how it is, it's a few keywords drive the most traffic to your site. So like, you can kind of find which are those few things to focus on. So like, it's a combination of analyzing your own historical performance and also copying the data from competitors or partners to see what's working in their campaigns, and using that information to inform your own marketing campaigns. Does that make sense?
Yes. So find not unicorns not only in your channel, but you can also find unicorns in competitors through BuzzSumo.
Yeah, sometimes when I talk about unicorns, people think that I'm saying like, you need to find a viral hit, and that's not true. Okay, a viral hit is very hard to find, like Gangnam Style or some crazy video that gets billions of views. Okay, that's crazy. Like, you'll never find one of those. That's very, very hard. A unicorn. Like, the interesting thing about unicorns is that no matter how terrible you are at marketing, okay, even if you're one of the worst marketers in the world, you still have unicorns, because some of your marketing campaigns will have done badly, and some of them will have done very, very, very badly. Okay, and so as long as you focus on the ones that did the least badly, those are the ones that are actually going to produce the most value. You see what I'm saying? Like, you just, like everybody has a range of performance of like some blog posts got 10 views and others got 100 views and some got 1 million views. Okay, like as long as you just find the ones that are not the worst things to focus on, the strategy works. But like marketers are very silly people. They don't like to. I think it's because they want to be original and they don't want to repeat the things from last week or from last month that and they're biased. They think that their next idea is going to be even better, when in reality, most of these ideas are not very interesting. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, great stuff. And I think all the platforms right now also reward unicorns, because, like you said, all the platforms will reward the best content with the best click-through rates. For example, if your blog or your social media content gets a very good click-through rate, the social media channels would generally push them up. So
yeah, that's exactly right. So the reason why unicorn marketing works is because of algorithms. Okay, so like if you are getting traffic to your site, you're probably getting traffic to your site from Google or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Gmail, like email marketing. And do you know what these platforms have in common? Machine learning algorithms. Okay, so in email marketing, okay, for example, 99% of emails being sent don't make it into the inbox. They end up in a spam folder. Okay, or like a promotions tab or like some kind of a clutter box. Okay, and do you know how Google and Microsoft decides which emails to put in the clutter box and which ones to put in the inbox? It's user engagement metrics. Mm-hmm. If a lot of people are just deleting the email and just not reading it, well, then the machine says like, well, that probably means that most people aren't going to find this interesting, and so I'll just take them all and dump them into the spam folder. Do you see what I'm saying? But if a lot of people are like going through the spam folder and moving this content back into their inbox and reading it and clicking on it, if a lot of people are doing that, then the machine says like, wait a second, maybe this isn't spam. This is very interesting content, and so then it learns and says like, well, let's show this to more people. Okay, so like that's just one example. Facebook for example, what ads and what content get prioritized in the news feed. It's the ones that have the most highest click-through rates, right? And or the highest engagement rates, like comments and shares and clicks and that stuff, because they want to surface. There's just so much content out there. They need to focus on the 1 or 2 or 3% of content that is actually, engaging users. So the reason why I'm asking marketers to think like a computer and only focus on producing the content that's like in the top 1 or 2 or 3% is because those are the content is going to be surfaced by Facebook in social media. That's the content that's going to be surfaced in email marketing. It's the content that's even going to be surfaced in search engines. So, of course, search engine optimization, it has always been about links, like links to your domain. But that's like 5 years ago. Like the algorithms have changed significantly. Now it's about engagement rates of the content that you're publishing. Like, are people clicking on it and are they staying on that page for a very long time? And those are your unicorns. Like if your average time on page is 2 minutes and you have some content that has like an average time of page of 30 minutes, well, that's the content that's going to do really well in a search engine. It's like, because Google will notice that people are clicking on that and they're staying, they're not hitting the back button, so that's your time on page unicorn, and you should be focusing on kind of cloning and replicating that kind of content, because it seems to be very, very successful, and that's the kind of content that's going to be very successful in organic search for Google and other search engines.
Yeah. And I have to thank you, because I followed one of your unicorn hacks and it got me some very good results on Google. So I'll just have to tell you, if you Google for Next Academy, I wrote a blog called Skills to Learn in 2019. So I wrote it in December, and it's still ranking number one from December to now. So what I did was, based on unicorn hacks, I actually did Facebook ads to drive cheap traffic there. I don't know if it helped, but I think it helped to find a market with cheap Facebook costs to drive a lot of traffic, a ton of traffic there. So somehow it ranks number one. And also there's a lot of SEO things that I've done. But I really love your unicorn hacks. So can you tell our audience some unicorn hacks when it comes to content?
So you've identified a topic, skills to learn in 2019.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting because like everyone wants to know, what are the skills they should be focusing on. So you found a really hot topic, and it's probably generating a lot of traffic when you do email blasting, and it's probably generating a lot of traffic when you're promoting it, and it's probably ranking on the SEO because it's a very catchy topic. And so, what you should do next year, when next year comes around, you should create a new blog post and call it "Skills to Learn in 2020." Okay, and just make this an annual thing. Like don't. Yeah. Like you found something that's very valuable and it's like, this is a great idea. So we need to get more, like you can't keep talking about skills to learn in 2019 when it's like November and December, right? Because it's like, I don't want to, like, why should I learn these things that are old? So you need to make small updates to the post and change the year and just redo that like next January. Now that's called unicorn cloning or making a unicorn baby. You take a successful idea and you just make a small change to it and then replay the same idea. Now, Hollywood knows this. Okay, so Hollywood produces these movies, and when they have a successful, movie idea, they don't just say like, okay, we're done. They make another movie that's like, Fast and Furious 2 and Fast and Furious 3 and Fast and Furious 7. Even the characters are dying, but like they keep creating the same movies and there's the same stupid, stories. It's the same, they just redo it until it stops working. So like, so you should keep milking that idea until it stops working, and then when it stops working, that's when you'll see like, oh, wait a minute, it's not producing great results anymore. And so the mistake that marketers make is they don't really recognize how valuable their unicorns are, and they fail to really extract the full value of the creation that they've created. Can I just give you one or two other tips here?
Yeah, sure.
So you've created you've done a really good job at kind of spending some money on Facebook ads because you found some content that's doing really well, and so that's really good, because what most people do is they just spend money on promoting content, including the content that's not doing well. They just spend money every week on the content that does well, but also the content that doesn't do well. And can I give you an example of this? A lot of companies have monthly online advertising budgets. Like it might say like, I want to spend $200 a month on ads. Okay. And, you have to spend that money. It's like a monthly online advertising budget. If you don't spend the money, then it goes away. Okay, and I think this is such a stupid idea, because what it means is that I would rather promote nothing and save the money than promote garbage that, if you promote content that is not interesting, then those clicks are going to cost, $3, $4, $5 a click. But if you promote content that's like really, really interesting, it could be like 30, 40, or 50 cents a click. You see what I'm saying? Like 10 or 50 times cheaper. And so one idea is to be a little bit more flexible in your paid media spending. So instead of dictating like, oh, we have to spend $200 a month on ads, okay, what we could do is we could say, for the year, we have $2,400 of ad spend, okay? You can spend it all in 1 month, or you can spend nothing in 1 month. Just wait. Like we'll produce content every month, and as soon as we have like a unicorn, like like the article that's doing so good, we can spend the entire year budget on promoting that one thing, rather than being forced to deploy it in different months where you might not have anything interesting to promote. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So being flexible with when to deploy the resources, because we don't know when you're going to find the unicorns. It could be tomorrow, or it could be 2 months from now. It's hard. Like we want everything to be a unicorn, but in reality, it's like 3 to 5% of our campaigns really do well, and the rest is not very interesting. A final example of what to do when you hit the unicorn is to repurpose the content. So you had a blog post of skills to learn in 2019. You absolutely should have made an infographic called "Skills to Learn in 2019," and you should put that on Instagram and put that on Twitter and social media, because I guarantee you it will do well, because it's already proven itself to do well in a blog post form. So just turn it into a video. Turn it into so that the mistake that people make in repurposing content is the attitude that the mentality is to think like, oh, well, this blog post didn't do very well on my website. I wonder if I turn it into a YouTube post, like a YouTube, vlog or something, or a podcast. I wonder if it'll do well. Like, guys, if it didn't do well on your blog, it's not going to do well in email. It's not going to do well in social media. It's not going to do well in YouTube. Just let it die. Okay. So what you need to do is instead, when you find the winner, you have to just copy it in other medium, like do a podcast about, today my guests and I are going to talk about the 19 skills that you need to learn for 2019. What are other channels like you need to put this into a webinar, a live stream. Like we're going to do a webinar this week, about the top skills that you need to learn for 2019. Like you just go all in on that unicorn idea. You have to tell all of the marketers who work for you or work with you at that marketing team, you have to sound the unicorn alert. And what that means is that, usually marketing teams are siloed. Like there's a content person, there's an advertising person, there's an events person. You see what I'm saying? Like they're not really working together. But what you need to do is someone who's in charge of the marketing team has to push a button and says, "Unicorn alert! We found a really, really great idea." And those workers need to stop what they're doing. Like, I don't care if they have another blog post planned for tomorrow. They need to cancel that blog post, and they have to create like follow-up stories. They need to create, videos and infographics related to the unicorn, right? Because those other planned articles or content campaigns, they have a very, very low chance of success. Whereas somebody has found something that is already working, so that like you need to prioritize the thing that's working over the thing that may or may not work. Okay.
Wow, that's great advice. I definitely will do it after today. Tomorrow I'll get to work and actually repurpose the content.
Well, only of the unicorn, not of if it's a donkey and it doesn't do well, then don't bother. You're just wasting your time.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Yeah, it's being in marketing. It's also choosing your battles, right? Don't spend a lot of time, on the donkeys, because you only have a limited amount of time.
Yeah, in marketing, there's always more things that you can do than time and resources available. So the success of marketing is just a prioritization exercise. And I just think that marketers are very bad at identifying what worked and what didn't work. And they, because of the donkey delusional disorder, they don't understand that they're supposed to focus more on the things that worked. They would rather try something new and unproven, so.
Yeah, it's like being like a pop star or like a musician. The song that hits number one, you keep playing it at all your concerts, right?
Just keep playing it. Like they might be embarrassed because it's like 20 years old, and but that's what they want. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear your new stuff that didn't go anywhere. They want to just hear those top 3 songs that everyone loves. Okay, like that's why they're buying your tickets. Okay, just focus on the old stuff that was proven. Don't waste time on all these new things that are, don't release a new song at a concert, because like you don't even know if people will like it or not, so.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And I want to talk a bit about one of your unicorn hacks that I find very interesting, but I haven't got to it yet. It's like you talk about marketing to unrelated interests, and you talk about marketing to Game of Thrones, people who are interested in Game of Thrones, and something, finding your audience and finding what they're interested in that is sort of unrelated.
Okay, yeah. So that's interesting. Basically, the key to finding a unicorn is basically having a high engagement rate. Like you need to have people to click on your stuff, because remember, if you have a high click-through rate, then Google will love it, Facebook will love it, Gmail will love it, YouTube will love it, everybody, all these algorithms will love it, but only if you have a high click-through rate. And so the question that I get a lot is like, well, I'm selling like toasters or something really, really boring, like I don't know, like paper supplies or something. Like it's really hard to get people to get so excited about this product because it's so boring, and so I have really low click-through rates. Okay, so that's a lot of companies have are selling garbage, and it's not interesting. So how can you hack your way to make it so that your I don't know, your toaster is really interesting? Okay, and so one idea, so like what the mistake that people make is it's in their targeting. So maybe they target people who like to cook, okay, because maybe they'll need a toaster, okay. That's like that makes sense, but kind of an interesting hack that I have found is that you should also target totally unrelated interests. Okay, so you could target people who so the example that I was giving in that presentation was like people who like Game of Thrones and also like to cook. Okay, now how are those related? Like they aren't related. Like is someone who likes Game of Thrones going to buy your product? No, it doesn't make any sense. But what you could do is you could overlap those two interests and say, like, I only want to like people who are really like, they love to cook and they love Game of Thrones. And then maybe creatively you could come up with some kind of an ad that spoke to them using Game of Thrones like language about how great your toaster is. Okay, so now it's not just one interest that is kind of pulling their attention. It's you're speaking to two different interests, and that might make them more appreciate the content of your ad. So a lot of these. So that's kind of a unicorn hack for doubling or tripling your click-through rate. It's to come up with unusual targeting patterns to really get people like
Yeah.
get people's attention. Okay. Can I give you one other example?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So a friend of mine lives in London, and she moved to London from America recently. Okay. And she was targeted with a T-shirt, like an ad, okay, on Facebook, and for to buy T-shirts. And you know what the T-shirt said? It said something like this. It said, "I live in London. I'm a Londoner, but I'm always an Arizona girl at heart." Okay, so Arizona is a state in America.
Yeah, yeah.
It says, I live in London, but I'm an Arizona girl at heart. Like, what the heck? Like, how the heck would they come up with like a T-shirt that could say that? And she recently moved from Arizona, like to London. Okay, so it got her attention so much because it was talking about like that she recently moved, that she lives in London, and that she was originally from Arizona. Okay, like three different things that are kind of pulling you in that direction. And so if you're wondering like how do they target? Well, there's a demographic in Facebook ads called recently moved. Okay, so that's one of you pick that one. There's another one it's a location. Like you can target by location, so like people who live in London, so you can overlay those two. Recently moved and lived in London, but how do you get like where that they moved from Arizona, America? Like how do you figure that out? Well, I looked through her profile and she has all sorts of signals, like her high school was located in Arizona, okay, and her high school is one of the interests that you can target off of, like in Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, so like high school, university, sporting teams. Like she likes like the Arizona football team. You know what I mean. Like so like what the advertiser was doing was they were targeting people who live in London, recently moved, and who like a certain university in Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So using those three things, the combination of all three things, they're able to produce a T-shirt ad that speaks to those unusual, unrelated factors, which dramatically increases the click-through rates. Do you understand what I'm talking about here?
Yes.
Any
Yes.
questions?
While preparing for this interview, I actually gave a lot of thought about this hack, and I figured out how to actually do it in Facebook ads. I think you already know this, but if I have a lot of fans for my toaster brand, what I can do is I can target everyone who is fans of my toaster brand, if there is, and I can narrow that audience to people who also like GOT, narrow it. And when you create that content, it will identify with people who, so the narrowing part is where it clicked with me. Oh, it's not putting it part of the same audience, but narrowing it down to people who.
Exactly. So the whole hack is to, it's a very strange hack because normally in advertising, you want to target interests like that are relevant to the product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what I'm saying is like, sometimes you can target completely irrelevant interests as a way to do segmentation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that your ads can speak to them, like that segmentation of like people who also went to a university in Arizona. Like that's not an interesting segment for target selling T-shirts in London, right?
Yeah.
But it could be a very interesting way to segment, all the people who recently moved to London. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like unusual. I call it an inverted unicorn because like the normal way of targeting ads is to target like relevant interests, but I've found that adding in uncorrelated, unrelated interests and then changing the copy to speak to the fact that something about their identity like something about their interests, that can also make a very, very boring product be very, very exciting. Now, if you're selling like drones or like really exciting products like vacations to beautiful places, well then you don't need to do this. But if you're selling boring stuff that nobody wants to click on, this is a way to make it at least more interesting, so that you can get out of jail, like the algorithm jail, because anything that has very, very low click-through rates, it's invisible.
Yeah, that's why I love your content, because the most content on the internet is digital marketing or marketing content. And you have managed to stand out with unicorn when you give like your presentations, the Unicorn Planet. So how do you come up with all these content ideas?
It's just what I'm talking about is what I use. So the reason why I use unicorns in these stupid presentations is because like one day, like 10 years ago, I did a presentation and like it had a bunch of stupid unicorns in it and like pictures of unicorns, and it went crazy. Like everybody loved it. And so I just thought like, wow, I only had like 2 pictures of unicorns in there, and out of a 100-slide deck, but people were tweeting about this stupid thing, and they were, everyone was talking about it. So I just said like, well, then I need to put more unicorns in my next presentation. And this was like over 10 years ago. Okay. Like, and now today, like a presentation will have like, 200 or 300 unicorns in the presentation. Okay. And I just think it's really funny because like today, unicorns are very, very popular. Like Starbucks has like a unicorn coffee, and like there's unicorn cereal, and like there's just so much unicorn crap everywhere. You know what I mean? And I think what's really interesting is that I kind of identified that unicorn trend like over a decade ago, like that people would be really excited about stupid rainbows and unicorns. Like I kind of identified that, just randomly because I tried something. But then I noticed that a lot of people were really excited about that. And so it kind of proves that this works. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because I kind of like, I'm talking about unicorns in my presentations, but I've been doing this for 10 years, even before the unicorns became so popular. Okay. So you just try out a lot of things, and then you kind of find the one or two that works and focus there. I found that this is true for not just marketing, but also business and also life. My last company, WordStream, I just sold it last year for $150 million. And, WordStream had hundreds and hundreds of features and functions in that product. But only one feature was like the top most used feature that everybody loved. And if it wasn't for that one feature, we wouldn't have had a business. It was our Adwords grader. So it would grade the performance of your account. It would tell you what your click-through rates and quality scores and conversion rates were, but then it would compare those results against similar companies with similar budgets in similar industries and geographies. Okay, so and it would give you a grade. It would be A, B, C, D minus. Like it would give you a score. Okay, so like that one thing was the thing that got used like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times. Okay. All the other features were valuable, but one of them was a unicorn, and it made the company as valuable as it is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's not just about marketing; it's also about business and life in general. Like just one or two things, it's like that makes all the difference. Like everything else, it's just a waste of time. So.
Yeah. It seems simple. It seems a bit common sense, but that's what
it's common sense in hindsight. When you look back and you say, "Oh yeah, well, Google, they've got 1,000 businesses, but only one of them is interesting. It's AdWords." Okay, right? Yeah. That makes all the money, and all these other self-driving cars and Google Docs and all these other things. They don't make money. They all lose money. Like it's just. you know, so when I found that unicorn feature, you know what I did?
Mhm.
I invested in it. Like I said, like, okay, well, this seems to be doing really, really well. Okay, what could we do to make this a super unicorn? So like one thing that I did was I made it the AdWords grader automatically regrade your account every month. So instead of just sending out one report card, you would get a monthly report card, and it would record how you did in the past, and it would give you a trend of how you're doing today, and over like forever. Like, so, you know, as long as you were, you know, subscribed to this free service, it gave you a trend of how you were doing and how the market's doing. Okay, so by doing that, instead of sending out one report card once to an advertiser, I would send out one report card per advertiser per month. Okay, and so that was so much more valuable, because now I could say like, hey, Bob, your account looks like it's doing really badly this month. Okay, like, can we help you? Like can we speak to one of our sales consultants to help you fix this? Like, we can kind of really be relevant and at the right time, you know. And look, it's always like one or like why do you think people use, like, I don't know, like Moz software? Okay, can you guess?
Because of one feature, because of backlink. So, yeah.
I actually think it's the rank checker.
Rank checker. All right, it's just yeah.
You know, like, but like any product in the world, it's just one thing, and the mistake that people do is they want to do a million other things, but what you really should do is just focus on the one that's working and really explore that thing, you know, with all of your resources and time and attention. So yeah, I've really enjoyed talking to you about these unicorns. Any other things you want to talk about?
Yeah, a quick one, and then a quick one. I really appreciate your time. So we're nearing the end. So I really love your story, how, you know, you got to be one of the top publishers on Medium. And I tried to grow my Medium blog as well. So what I did was I did Twitter ads so I did a blog about Gary Vaynerchuk, and then I targeted everyone on
Gary
Twitter.
Vaynerchuk fans, yeah.
Sort of got some traction, but didn't get the thing that I was expected. In fact, other blogs did more better. But what was your story of growing your Medium following?
Okay, so there's a couple things that you need to know about Medium traffic.
Yeah.
One of them is that the way to get lots of traffic is to get lots of claps, like those hearts, like the claps, likes basically. And so one of the reasons why your outreach probably didn't work is because if you're just targeting people to read your content, that's not good enough. They have to also clap on the thing. Okay. So what the most successful Medium authors are doing is they are collecting a mailing list of people who read their Medium content. Okay, mm-hmm. So like at the end of the blog content, there's like a little subscribe button, and then what they do, the reason why that is, those are your super fans. Those are people who regularly visit Medium and who have Medium accounts. You need an account to be able to heart the page. If you don't have a Medium account, it won't work.
Oh.
Okay. You need to be logged in. Like, you need to have a Medium account. So like what these successful authors are doing is they are collecting a email list, and this email list will consist of people who are familiar with the content and who have Medium accounts. And then by reblasting the email, like for every new post, I mean, this is over time. If every time you do a blast, those are the people who are most likely to clap for this article because they're familiar with you. Okay, they've heard of you before, and they have a Medium account. Okay, so like every time you do every time you do a post, you blast the list. You'll collect a few more emails, and then you do the next
Oh,
post. You blast it. You know, the bigger your list, the more claps you'll get. The more claps you get, the more visibility you get. The more visibility you get, the more subscribers you'll get. So it's like this really nice little virtuous cycle. So like that's how that works. You just need to understand, like the first thing you need to understand is, how does Medium decide what articles to surface? Because they surface content to the readership in email digests, and
mhm.
also in their app newsfeed. Okay, so
Hmm.
you need to understand, like, how does it decide which to show? And the answer is, it's mostly based on claps. Okay,
Okay.
uh, and and uh, and then you just need to construct a way to get people to that article who are likely to clap for that thing.
Amazing.
And those are going to be people who are familiar with you, who have Medium accounts. Got it?
Got it. That's what I missed out. All my advertising didn't collect emails, and maybe they don't have Medium account.
And you were targeting like just people, like
Yeah.
they didn't have a Medium account.
Yeah.
Like so what you could do is, what I did is I scraped Medium for all the Twitter IDs of the most active Twitter accounts of like the you can on Medium, you can see a user's profile, and
Yeah.
it'll show their Twitter account,
Yeah.
okay, their Twitter ID, and it'll tell you like how many things did they like
Mm.
how many things did they clap for, and how many comments they made. Okay, so I just graded that whole list and looked for the top 5% of most active Medium
Medium.
users, and then I took their handles, and so I target that, not just people on Twitter. I target the 5% of Medium,
Medium of that custom audience. Wow.
of the custom audience, of people who like comment and like Medium content like crazy. And this works on Reddit and stuff. Like, you just have to find, you have to, your audience is too broad. Like we
Yeah.
need it. It needs to be the influencers on Medium. You know. So
Wow, that's an amazing hack. And after this, I will definitely do it. And last question, Larry, before we go. So because we are also a coding academy, you have a background in engineering and coding. So how has the ability to code actually helped you be, for me, you are one of the top marketers in the world. So how has the technical ability, not many marketers have it, helped you as a marketer?
so that's why I'm able to do what I do. It's because I have a software background. So
Mhm.
like everything that we've been talking about is actually like how to leverage the algorithms. Like
Mhm.
we've been talking about the Medium algorithm. You know,
Mhm.
if I didn't have a mathematical background, well, then I wouldn't have been able to figure out what are the factors that result in in visibility of content. You know, but like
Yeah.
so I basically did an analysis of like all of my content, and like, because it tells you how many page views it gets. Okay, and then you do like regressions where you figure out like, well, is it the number of comments? Is it like it was basically a linear relationship with the number of hearts. Okay, so you I just did the same thing with like Facebook ads, or with
Mhm.
Google ads, or Facebook organic posts, or just figuring out what the limits are, and where the loopholes are, because like sometimes you find these loopholes, and if they're there, I think that you should use that to your advantage. We know that Google and Facebook really, really favor high click-through rate content. So like,
Mhm.
I think we would be silly to not take note of that and adjust our content creation strategy to provide those platforms what they're looking for. So I guess you could say it's kind of an engineering approach to marketing, and I think that's why it's so successful.
And it helped you build tools as well. You mentioned scraping medium. Not every marketer can do that. You have to have like a engineering background.
Or bots or like other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, can I tell you a little bit about my new venture?
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
So I'm working at a new company. It's called Mobile Monkey. It's the world's fastest growing and best Facebook Messenger marketing platform.
Yeah.
So I think Facebook is pretty popular in Malaysia and in Asia. So like, like I know that most companies, they spend a lot of time, posting things to their groups and to their Facebook walls and Instagram. But there's another channel that I think that you should be looking into, and that's messaging. Like you can send out, direct messages to your Facebook Messenger subscribers. Okay. And this is really great because it's way better than email, because email has 10% open rates, but Messenger has 80% open rates. And so me, I like to focus on where the engagement is, and so this is a really interesting, valuable growth marketing channel. Like the mistake that marketers do is they when it comes to marketing, is they fall in love with a channel. So they say oh, let's do Facebook organic marketing. Okay, let's posting to a Facebook wall. Well, these days it's that's a very hard, it's not producing as much as it did, even just a year ago or 2 years ago. This is an exciting new channel, messaging, where you can actually do broadcast messages or ads directly into people's messaging, interfaces. And, you can give it a try. It's a free product, mobilemonkey.com. Just Google Mobile Monkey, one word, Mobile Monkey, one word. And we have tools for doing chat marketing, as well as tools for obtaining, growing your subscriber list. So to have hundreds of thousands of subscribers that you can message, and it's called chatbot marketing, and give that a try. All right.
Yeah, I've run some chatbot campaigns myself, and it's definitely the best way to go here. Especially it's still new here in Asia, and definitely you stand out against the competition.
I hope you were using Mobile Monkey.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, thanks, Larry. Thanks for your valuable time. I hope we can do this again, and definitely love talking to you. And 1 hour has passed in such a quick time.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much. Have a great day. And thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.